A new Consumer Reports investigation out just this morning finds that there may be more mercury in canned tuna than you realize.
Something major is changing at Walmart. Customers across the country are noticing it. They are walking down the grocery aisles and leaving completely outraged. Your eyes are not playing tricks on you. Independent retail compliance audits confirm that a massive back-end quality drawdown is hitting the store shelves. This is not simple consumer inflation. Corporate logistics managers are executing behind-the-scenes inventory cuts. They are quietly stripping away affordable product selections to protect their corporate profit margins. Changing trade distribution lines and escalating processing costs are squeezing everyday household staples. The forced store brand inventory swaps sitting at number 1 serve as the absolute blueprint for this entire retail distribution collapse. Number 13. Vanishing store. Brand frozen vegetables. Do not assume a packed freezer case of green beans or corn means your budget options are secure. The frosty glass doors display rows of familiar packages. This visual consistency is a deliberate retail trick. Store managers are actively reducing the floor space given to cheap private labels. They want to force your hand before wholesale contract pricing locks you out completely. The Global Industrial Cold Storage Energy Index confirms that commercial freezing costs are hitting extreme thresholds. Corporate quarterly statements reveal that processing facilities are actively scaling back their packaging volume. They are diverting raw vegetable inputs toward expensive branded lines. Large corporate distributors are outbidding small grocery operations. They want to protect their slipping retail profit margins. The core of this supply constriction is concentrated straight inside Midwestern regional freezing corridors. A baseline bag of frozen store-brand vegetables that currently holds a stable retail price floor of $1.25 is on an irreversible upward path. The cost will hit an expensive projected price floor of $2 before the summer transit agreements rekey. Store managers are cutting down on cheap private label freezer rows to give premium branded lines maximum exposure. The calculated shopper must stock up on plain bulk frozen varieties today before shelf varieties contract completely. Group your frozen bags tightly together inside a chest freezer to maintain a high thermal mass. Wrap the individual bags in heavy aluminum foil to block dry air and prevent early freezer burn if storing them for over 6 months. Securing your frozen vegetable lines will protect your kitchen from sudden freezer case repricing. But your home reserves will still crack if your daily baking staples lose their physical weight. Number 12. Shrinking sliced bread loaf. Volumes. A full shelf of sandwich bread loaves feels like a permanent asset in any grocery section. Most shoppers look at these long bags and assume local bread production is completely stable. This comfort is a dangerous mistake. It will compromise your short-term emergency food planning. Baking conglomerates are quietly thinning out individual product dimensions long before the shelves sit empty. The Global High Extraction Wheat Milling Index shows a severe raw material supply squeeze. Corporate earnings files reveal that industrial bakeries are facing compounding fuel surcharges. Changing regional trade regulations are adding immediate compliance fees to packaging lines. Major bread brands are actively adjusting their automated machinery. They are reducing the thickness of individual bread slices to trim total package weight while leaving the exterior bag size unchanged. The primary cause of this volume contraction is centered inside central grain belt intensive milling centers. A standard loaf that currently carries a stable retail price floor of $1.80 is moving on a locked upward curve. The cost will land at an expensive projected price floor of $2.75 before the next retail procurement cycle rekeys. Baking conglomerates are quietly reducing the thickness of individual bread slices to trim total package weight while leaving the exterior bag size unchanged. The alert kitchen manager must track the exact ounce metrics on the label rather than trusting the physical length of the bag. Store your fresh bread in a cool, dark bread box, completely away from ambient refrigerator humidity. Freeze your extra loaves immediately inside airtight zipper bags to protect the delicate crumb texture from early staleness. Tracking the exact weight of your baked goods will stop hidden retail cash leaks, but your household infrastructure will still face a mess if your disposable paper goods lose their protective layers. Number 11. Thinly coated paper plates. Do not assume a massive tower of paper plates at your local store means party supplies are a stable category. The large plastic wraps look exactly like the ones you bought last season. This physical presence is a massive retail trap. Manufacturing facilities are aggressively stripping down the protective moisture barriers on their store brand paper plates. They want to absorb rising raw chemical material bills without changing the retail layout. The Industrial Pulp Processing Index indicates that raw paperboard processing costs have climbed to extreme thresholds. Corporate financial updates reveal that protective plastic film shortages are draining retail production allocations. Major paper mills are adjusting their chemical formulations. They are pushing out brittle paper bodies that warp and fail under ordinary dinner weight. The core bottleneck originates straight from highly restricted Pacific Northwest logging and paper mills. The lack of raw chemical feedstocks means retail consumer plates are facing hidden quality downgrades. A standard pack of disposable plates that currently costs a $3 retail floor is on a fixed upward trend. It will reach a punishing projected cost of $4.50 per pack before the seasonal transit agreements rekey entirely. Production facilities are reducing the protective moisture barrier on store-brand paper plates to absorb rising chemical raw material bills. The tactical buyer must double-stack these thin plates to prevent catastrophic failures during family meals. Store your extra paper plate packs inside airtight plastic bins, away from kitchen grease and high room temperature humidity. Keep them stacked completely flat to maintain their structural shape over a 3-year window. Protecting your disposable kitchen inventory will save your dinner budget, but your entire home survival strategy will fall apart if you fail to protect your bulk fluid infrastructure from sudden warehouse floor space cuts. Number 10. Disappearing bulk. Bottled water pallets. Do not assume a massive stack of bottled water cases near the storefront means your emergency fluid reserve is secure. The grid of wrapped plastic pallets looks completely normal to casual shoppers. This physical presence is a calculated retail illusion. Retail networks are actively drawing down the physical floor space allocated to heavy, low-margin water lines. They are quietly rationing store shipments long before a crisis hits the local news. The Global Plastic Packaging Material Index shows a massive spike in raw chemical costs. Corporate logistics summaries reveal that long-haul transport overhead spikes have made heavy fluid transport completely unprofitable for local stores. Sourcing managers are adjusting their delivery parameters. They are cutting back on heavy warehouse allocations to prioritize lighter, higher-margin goods on regional trailers. The primary point of pressure flows directly through regional natural spring drawing stations. The freight friction along these transport corridors ensures that public retail choices will continue to decline. A standard case of bulk bottled water carrying a current price floor of $4 is on a locked upward trend. It will reach an expensive projected price floor of $6.25 before the summer contract agreements rekey. Retail networks are limiting the floor space allocated to heavy low-margin water pallets to reduce warehouse handling costs. The defensive household must establish a permanent home filtration setup today to secure their fluid baseline without relying on retail store shelves. Store your extra water cases on elevated wooden pallets completely away from direct chemical fumes or uninsulated garage walls. Shield the plastic bottles from direct sunlight to protect the chemical integrity of the containers over a 2-year window. Securing your fluid baseline will protect your family from warehouse space cuts, but your long-term pantry strategy will still fall apart if you ignore the changes hitting the canned protein aisle. Number 9. Missing canned tuna varieties. Walking past grocery shelves packed with seafood tins creates a false impression of manufacturing health. Casual buyers assume basic canned fish is too ordinary to undergo systematic structural changes. Do not let this visual mask fool you. Major seafood packers are aggressively shifting their automated machinery away from plain lines. They are dropping affordable options long before the store shelves sit completely empty. The Pelagic Ecosystem Shift Index confirms that deep-sea school migrations are restricting commercial harvest yields. Industrial tin plate manufacturing costs are adding immediate premiums to physical metal can production. Corporate retail filings confirm that major seafood packers are shifting their focus to expensive, highly flavored lines. They are using extra ingredients to bypass thin retail price ceilings imposed on plain pantry staples. The geographic origin of this seafood crisis is centered inside Pacific maritime distribution lines. Any transport or trade delay along these ocean lanes instantly triggers inventory drops at the neighborhood store level. A standard tin of chunk tuna carrying a current price floor of 90 cents is moving on a locked upward curve. The cost will land at an expensive projected price floor of $1.50 before the August contract agreements rekey completely. Major seafood packers are focusing their canning machinery exclusively on expensive flavored lines to bypass thin retail price ceilings. The strategic consumer must gather basic oil-packed chunks today before plain inventory options disappear entirely. Clean the outer can surfaces with a dry microfiber cloth before final storage positioning. Organize your tins by matching expiration windows to optimize your long-term pantry rotation. Gathering plain seafood lines will insulate your kitchen from protein counter spikes, but your entire storage balance will crack if you fail to protect your waste management resources from raw polymer shortages. Number 8. Brittle plastic trash bag. Formulas. A full shelf of heavy-duty trash bag boxes looks like a permanent asset in the utility section. Most property owners look at these items and assume standard puncture resistance is a fixed commodity. That comfort is a dangerous mistake. It will compromise your workshop sanitation planning. Packaging brands are quietly altering their internal chemical blending lines long before the boxes change on the shelf. The Global High-Density Polymer Resin Index indicates that raw material shortages have reached critical thresholds. Corporate factory summaries reveal that manufacturers are facing compounding processing fees. Major packaging brands are adjusting their automated extruders to blend higher percentages of recycled scrap into their plastic film. This trick hides escalating raw input costs while reducing the structural elasticity of the final bag. The root of this material constriction sits inside Gulf Coast petrochemical manufacturing zones. This localized manufacturing backup ensures that retail consumer supplies are facing hidden quality downgrades. A standard box of heavy garbage bags with a current price floor of $8 is facing an immediate market reset. The cost will hit an expensive projected price floor of $12 before the seasonal transit agreements rekey. Packaging brands are blending higher percentages of recycled scrap into their plastic film to hide escalating processing fees from consumers. The proactive property manager must avoid overfilling light garbage lines to prevent messy structural tears during waste disposal. Keep your spare trash bag rolls inside dark, cool utility cabinets completely away from fluctuating garage heat. Avoid direct contact with sharp metal tool edges or high room temperature humidity to maintain plastic flexibility for 3 years. Protecting your utility inventory will save your cleanup budget, but your entire home survival setup will face a total breakdown if your daily deli selections drop their packaging weights. Number 7. Pre-packaged deli meat. Weight drops. Do not assume a full row of plastic deli tubs at your local supercenter means your lunchtime protein baseline is perfectly secure. The bright branding looks completely identical to the packages you bought last month. This visual consistency is a calculated corporate trap. Processing networks are actively pulling weight out of the container long before the retail store sections shrink. The Global Livestock Processing Index indicates that labor supply gaps have severely restricted raw harvest yields. Corporate quarterly reports show that commercial plastic film packaging shortages are driving up manufacturing bills. Large food distributors are moving early. They are outbidding small grocery chains to divert high-grade meat allocations to profitable restaurant networks. The core bottleneck originates straight from highly consolidated Southern Plains meatpacking hubs. A standard pack of lunch meat carrying a current retail price floor of $3.50 is facing an immediate reprice. The cost will hit an expensive projected floor of $5.20 as spot market premiums escalate. Processing networks are pulling 2 full ounces out of familiar plastic tubs while leaving the retail price point completely untouched. The tactical household must shift their protein budget toward whole primal cuts that can be portioned manually at home. Divide your fresh deli portions into single-use layers using wax paper sheets. Vacuum seal the packs and freeze them immediately to preserve structural food quality for up to 6 months. This retail disruption reveals a much larger coordinated shift inside the global industrial network. We are no longer looking at simple store delays or temporary price changes in a single grocery aisle. Every everyday item on your shelf is tied back to shifting trade tariffs and volatile international oil refining cycles. When foundational chemical building blocks get cut, corporate networks scale back their retail varieties and lower material quality across the board. The products you see right now are drawing down on old inventory contracts that cannot be renewed at the same baseline value. Understanding this back-end math is the only way to shield your personal domestic workshop from a massive quality drain. Subscribe to this channel immediately to secure your place in our network and ensure you receive our next private infrastructure briefing. Number 6. Watered down great value. Liquid soaps. A bright wall of private label dish and hand soaps looks like a permanent shield against household cleaning inflation. Casual buyers look at these translucent jugs and assume basic sanitation chemicals are completely abundant. This comfort is a dangerous mistake. It will compromise your workshop hygiene setup. Private label suppliers are quietly thinning out their active concentrations long before the store shelves sit empty. Chemical surfactant component caps have triggered a severe allocation crisis across blending plants. Corporate quarterly files reveal that specialized automated production shortfalls are draining retail store allocations. Major soap brands are adjusting their automated machinery. They are diluting their consumer cleaning blends with high liquid volumes to offset escalating chemical input expenses. The primary cause of this chemical constriction is centered inside domestic chemical manufacturing clusters. This localized processing backup ensures that retail consumer washing options will continue to decline in performance. A standard bottle of store-brand soap with a current price floor of $2.50 is moving on a locked upward curve. It will land at an expensive projected price floor of $4 before the summer transit contracts rekey. Private label suppliers are diluting their household cleaning blends with high liquid volumes to offset escalating chemical input expenses. The analytical homeowner must transition to concentrated soap flakes or raw bars to avoid paying high transport premiums on plain water ballast. Store your soap canisters completely upright inside dark utility cabinets away from winter freezing zones. Keep the caps tightly sealed to prevent atmospheric moisture from causing chemical separation inside the plastic bottle. Slowing down chemical separation will protect your cleaning efficiency, but your entire home survival setup will still freeze up if your basic paper rolls vanish from regional transit trailers. Number 5. Missing multi-pack paper towels. Do not let a massive display of paper goods convince you that bulk household disposables are a stable category. The large wrapped bundles look exactly like the ones you bought last season. This physical presence is a massive retail illusion. Distribution hubs are aggressively phasing out massive multi-packs to maximize physical space on regional transport trailers before an explicit price reset lands. The Global Pulpwood Milling Infrastructure Contraction Index shows a sudden drop in raw material manufacturing volume. Corporate financial summaries reveal that corporate inventory reduction metrics are forcing suppliers to cut back on large retail packaging options. Major paper networks are adjusting their shipping parameters. They are focusing their remaining warehouse stock on tight single rolls to protect back-end profit margins. The core bottleneck originates straight from highly restricted southeastern forestry cultivation zones. A standard multi-pack of paper towels that currently costs a $12 retail floor is on a fixed upward trend. It will reach a punishing projected cost of $19 per pack before the next retail contract cycle rekeys entirely. Distribution hubs are phasing out massive multi-packs to maximize space on regional transport trailers. The proactive buyer must secure commercial-grade paper rolls today while bulk options remain accessible on the floor. Keep your spare paper rolls inside heavy plastic storage totes completely off damp basement floors today. Use reusable desiccant bags inside the container to prevent raw atmospheric moisture from ruining the outer absorbent layers. Protecting your paper towel reserves from environmental humidity will save your budget, but your entire household storage strategy will fall apart if you ignore the changing physical dimensions of the breakfast aisle. Number 4. Smaller great value ground. Coffee tins. Do not assume a row of bright plastic coffee containers means your morning beverage budget is safe. The shelf display looks completely unchanged. This full footprint is a calculated retail illusion. Sourcing managers are actively shrinking the actual depth and volume of the physical cans behind the scenes. They want to preserve their back-end profit margins long before the stock thins down completely. The Global Arabica Bean Crop Failures Index indicates that raw agricultural input costs have jumped significantly. Corporate quarterly files reveal that transport container logistics friction is creating massive procurement delays. Large food conglomerates are outbidding consumer retail chains to divert remaining high-grade beans to commercial industrial accounts. This resource strain forces store brands to alter their packaging dimensions to protect their slipping retail profit margins. The primary point of pressure flows directly from South American agricultural export ports. This localized maritime backlog ensures that retail consumer options face immediate volume cuts. A standard large container that currently carries a stable retail price floor of $7 is moving on a locked upward path. It will reach an expensive projected floor of $10.50 before the summer contract cycle resets completely. Sourcing managers are shrinking the actual volume of the metal cans while keeping the front shelving footprint looking wide to protect back-end profit margins. The daily coffee drinker must swap to whole bean options to guarantee true weight value at the register. Move your loose coffee ground inventory out of thin store canisters into airtight glass or ceramic jars today. Place the containers inside a dark cupboard completely away from oven heat vents to extend flavor compounds for over 12 months. Securing your caffeine baseline will save your kitchen from sudden volume shrinkage, but your long-term pantry strategy will still fall apart if your basic carbohydrate lines drop their actual food weight. Number 3. Thinly packed canned beans. A full row of cheap store-brand bean cans looks like a permanent shield against grocery aisle inflation. Casual shoppers glance at these metal tins and assume basic field crops are completely stable. This comfort is a dangerous mistake. It will compromise your emergency meal planning. Food processors are quietly expanding their liquid fillers long before the store rows sit empty. Legume production shifts have severely restricted raw harvest yields over the past 2 consecutive quarters. Corporate financial files confirm that packing plant processing cost increases have pushed manufacturing bills to extreme thresholds. Wholesalers are actively cutting back on solid vegetable allocations to prioritize high-margin commercial soup operations. This baseline deficit flows straight from northern grain belt farming hubs, causing immediate retail quality downgrades. A basic can of black or pinto beans with a current price floor of 80 cents is heading higher. It will reach a punishing projected cost of $1.30 before the winter procurement window closes. Food processors are adding significantly more saltwater brine filler into each can to reduce the physical vegetable weight without altering the label size. The prepared consumer must drain and weigh their canned rations to understand the true nutritional value they are storing. Stack your bean cans no more than 4 units high to shield lower seams from crushing under their own cumulative weight. Wipe the rims with a dry cloth to completely block room temperature moisture damage. The remaining 2 private label modifications on our list represent the absolute peak of visual deception and asset stripping in the entire modern retail ecosystem. Number 2. Grainy block cheese. Changes. Do not let a packed cooler display of store-brand cheddar blocks convince you that basic dairy storage is secure from structural degradation. The vacuum-sealed blocks look identical to last season, but processing corporations are quietly manipulating their chemical formulas to protect corporate earnings. The Global Dairy Farm Baseline Energy Spike Index indicates that industrial processing costs have climbed to extreme levels. Corporate quarterly statements reveal that high industrial cold chain processing overhead is draining retail shipping allocations. Major dairy operations are adjusting their manufacturing steps to use alternative enzyme cultures. This trick accelerates production speeds at the direct expense of final food texture. The core bottleneck originates straight from highly consolidated Midwestern dairy aging centers, forcing a massive quality downgrade across consumer retail shelves. A standard block of cheese carrying a current price floor of $2.80 is on a steep upward trajectory. It will land at an expensive projected price floor of $4.50 before the summer transit agreements rekey. Dairy processing plants are using alternative enzyme cultures to accelerate production speeds at the direct expense of final food texture. The disciplined family must source traditional aged blocks today to ensure long-term shelf storage performance without quick oil separation. Wrap opened dairy blocks firmly in parchment paper before placing them inside a heavy zipper bag. Keep the packages in the coldest section of your refrigeration unit to completely block early mold development over a 3-month window. Slowing down dairy mold development will protect your home food investment, but your entire household survival setup will face a total breakdown if your basic grocery brand alternatives vanish entirely from the floor slots. Number 1. Locked great value. Brand swaps. A fully displayed wall of bright, affordable store brand staples looks like the ultimate sign of modern grocery abundance. Homeowners assume basic, low-cost alternatives will always be accessible for quick family meals. This assumption is a fatal systemic blind spot. The centralized distribution line pruning hidden inside these sections dictates the true baseline pricing of every single downstream item on the shelf. The double exposure mechanism at play here is a massive visual deception. High raw material shortages are colliding directly with extreme corporate margin requirements to fundamentally reshape the floor layout. Automated fulfillment trackers indicate that regional distribution centers have hit their lowest inventory volumes in decades. Extreme nearshoring logistics complexity has forced corporate sourcing networks to ration their weekly shipment allocations. International trade tariff waves are adding an immediate compliance surcharge to every incoming raw ingredient delivery. This primary point of failure is concentrated inside global supply chain fulfillment centers. Corporate strategists are aggressively adjusting their shelf spacing metrics. They are systematically removing affordable store brand staples to force desperate shoppers into buying expensive national name brands. A standard store brand staple item that currently carries a baseline retail floor of $3 is moving on a locked upward trajectory. It will reach a punishing projected cost of $5.50 before the next retail procurement cycle rekeys. Corporate strategists are systematically removing affordable store brand staples to force desperate shoppers into buying expensive national name brands. The calculated individual must recognize that these forced inventory cutbacks are undeniable proof that the era of cheap, predictable retail mass abundance has officially come to an end. Move your baseline dry goods out of flimsy store cardboard packaging immediately. Transition the items into rigid plastic containers with tight silicone seals. Store them on dark pantry tracking shelves completely away from room temperature heat vents. The physical survival of your home food infrastructure depends entirely on the inventory choices you execute before the retail distribution network closes down completely. Do not panic buy or clear grocery shelves this week. True preparation relies entirely on calculated, rational rotation. Begin your phased resource consolidation today by securing your boxed store brand staples and canned protein choices first. Next week, transition your grocery budget toward frozen bulk items and dense dairy. Components to protect your household nutritional capabilities. Data always moves significantly faster than the physical store shelf. Lock in today's asset value before the wholesale pricing matrix resets completely. Subscribe to this channel immediately to secure your place in our network and ensure you receive our next private infrastructure briefing.